Good evening. Good evening all. Can you all hear me? Brilliant. Lovely, lovely. Right. I know the video I put out this morning said that the likelihood is the PAP reports will be postponed. The reason why I said that is mainly because of, and again, I shouldn't really be saying this in this particular type of video, but there we go. It's to do with the mental health issue and the tablets, right? I have taken my tablets. I feel a bit better, so I decided that I would jump on today to do this live PAP reports. Now, this isn't going to be a live like the where we talk for hours. I seem to have frozen up a little bit, or not. Have I frozen up? Can anyone tell me? Five by five. Yeah, it's had a little bit of a buffering moment there on the screen that I'm looking at. But anyway, I actually feel bad when I'm not able to do a PAP reports. I actually feel like I'm letting people down. So therefore, I've forced myself onto this one. There's not a great deal to go through, but again, this isn't going to be a live such as Sunday Night Live is, that goes on for several hours. This will be a relatively short one. Also, Marty Blagborough is going to be on the telly. Well, he's on the telly now, but he's going to be putting a video on his channel at about 9 o'clock. So I want to definitely be finished by then, regardless. So anybody that wants to go and check out Marty Blagborough being on the television will be able to see that on his channel at about 9 o'clock ish. So let's get into this then. I've got some notes. The last live that I did was done on an auto cue in front of the camera, and it was scrolling up. This one, however, I'm going to read notes from my computer in front of me. So bear with me on that, if you would. Okay, and I'm going to struggle responding to comments as well while I'm doing this, by the way. So let's get into this then and get this out of the way, and then we can have a talk about the coronavirus for a little while afterwards. So first of all, we've got a Thames Valley Police constable, and again, I will be at some point in the near future learning to use some new software. So when I do these lives, I'll be able to put images up on the screen as well while I'm going through it. But until then, unfortunately, you're just going to have to put up with me and the links that I'll put in the description afterwards. So first of all, we've got a PC James Taylor from, or formerly from Reading Police Station, part of Thames Valley Police, who has been, you might know him, Leanna, who has been accused, shall we say, at the moment, of inappropriate behaviour towards two female junior police officers during 2017 and 2019. So that's PC James Taylor, formerly from Reading Police Station, which is part of Thames Valley Police, who is facing a misconduct hearing for inappropriate behaviour towards two, I believe, female junior police constables between 2017 and 2019, which of course breaches the standards of professional behaviour, respect and courtesy, as well as discreditable conduct, and breaches of those particular rules would amount to gross misconduct if found proven. Therefore, on the 17th of March, tomorrow, when the hearing starts and is expected to go on for about 2 days, PC James Taylor may very well be getting his P45. But that's what happens, PC James Taylor, when you behave inappropriately to work colleagues. The next thing is Superintendent Williams. Williams is was, I should say, the most senior black policewoman in the country, I believe. She had a WhatsApp message sent to her, apparently, from her sister some time ago. And although former Superintendent Novlet Williams denied looking at the video of a child being abused, she kept it on her phone and she failed to report it. Now, her argument is that she never looked at it. However, her sister's argument is that she sent ex-Superintendent Novlet Williams a video file of a child being abused in order for her to try and find out who the abuser was. Not being funny, but if somebody's, if you sent somebody a file and you had a question about that file, you're not just going to forget to ask any follow-up questions, especially if they're in the police. You're going to send them something and you're going to go, oh, I sent you a video. Have you looked at it yet? I want to know if you're looking into it or if you found out who it was. You're going to push that person and they're going to look at that file. So the fact that former Superintendent Novlet Williams from the Metropolitan Police denies looking at a file, a video of a child abuse video, she denies it. I find that highly unlikely when it's in a family chat. Okay. However, she has been found guilty of gross misconduct, and therefore the most senior black policewoman in the country has been given a P45. Now, as you would expect, the Association of Black Police Officers are kicking up a bit of a stink, saying that it's institutional racism. However, I don't think it should matter what colour your skin is. Especially if you're in a position that is there to protect people, if you're covering up or if you fail to report a child abuse video, whatever colour you are, whatever gender you are, whatever religion you are, makes no difference. If you fail to report that, you are complicit in the cover up of of what's going on in that video. Do you know what I mean? So the fact that she's been given the boot is good as far as I'm concerned, and that's not because she's black. It's because she's a police officer, a senior police officer, who failed to report a video of child abuse on her phone. And again, let me just reiterate, she says that she didn't look at the file, but if you sent a file to one of your friends or one of your family who was police, and you said, oh, I've found this, or somebody sent me this, you look into it, and you didn't hear anything back, you would contact them again and say, oh, did you look at that video? Have you looked at it? Have you checked it out? Have you found out yet? And you would push that person. So the fact that she's saying that she didn't look at it, as far as I'm concerned, Novlet Williams, ex-superintendent of the Met, most senior black policewoman, I think you was talking shit. There you go. Well, they wouldn't be saying this on the BBC News, would they? It says here that the Assistant Commissioner for the Met said that Nevlet's failure to report the matter could have caused significant further harm to the child that was in the video. Absolutely. And that is one of the reasons why I think it doesn't make a difference what colour she is. She failed to report a potential child abuse, and therefore she is complicit in any further child abuse that happens to that child. That's my opinion. Excuse me. The Assistant Commissioner of the Met also said that it's entirely unacceptable for police officers responsible for enforcing the law to break the law themselves. So it's entirely unacceptable for police officers responsible for enforcing the law to break the law themselves. Like they really care about that anyway. I mean, that clearly is just for show. That statement is just a you know, let's say the right thing kind of statement. That's not a legitimate, truthful statement, because they all know full well that the police are breaking the laws every single day in order to, you know, supposedly uphold the law. Ridiculous. The Assistant Met Commissioner also said that Rachel Bias had played no part in the decision, but the Metropolitan Black Police Association is arguing that Williams had been unfairly targeted because she's black. I mean, as I said, you know, surprise, surprise, not. You break the law, you deal with the punishment. No matter who you are, no matter where you're from, no matter what you look like, you break the law, you deal with the punishment. However, the Black Police Association, and this is quite important, I think, and it certainly made me wonder. The Black Police Association actually said in a statement, there are guidelines that allow for discretion. There are guidelines that allow for discretion. However, Williams was not afforded the privilege during this process. Why should she have a privilege of discretion just because she wore a uniform? How does that make sense? How is that fair on anybody? How is that just and right? You cannot have a discretional value just because you wear a uniform. If you break the law, you pay the price, no matter who you are. And for the Black Police Association to say that there are guidelines that allow for discretion. Now, for me, that's like saying, that's like, imagine somebody going into a misconduct hearing, the police going into a misconduct hearing. Well, I'm sorry, chairperson, I tased that person 76 times until they died. Because I was frightened. And this whole discretion thing that we've got going on, come on, buddy, let me off. I didn't mean to kill him. Can you let me off? Oh yeah, go on then, we'll let you off. Bit of discretion, never hurt anybody. Do you know what I mean? You cannot have discretion when it comes to cases of the law. If if it's a rule or a regulation, which aren't laws, laws are supposed to be there to protect us from harm, loss or damage. If you've got a rule or a regulation or something like that, for example, then you can have a bit of discretion with regards to that. But when it comes to the law, no fucker, black, white, pink, green, purple, lesbian, gay, whatever, nobody deserves discretion. You break the law, you pay the price. End of. Gerard Boyle, who was supported, so that's the QC for Williams, who was fighting her corner, he said to the misconduct hearing that she'd spent her entire police career since the age of 18 acting on behalf of victims of crime and abuse, and that she was appalled by such abuse imagery. but yet she failed to report it. If she was that appalled by it, she failed to report it. He then went on to say that, and this is quite amusing, she was accused of one allegation, of one breach, of one paragraph of professional standards. She was accused of one allegation, of one breach, of one paragraph. So what I instantly thought when I heard that is, how many people have been prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law for breaking one rule of one, or one law in one act, in one legislation? Do you know what I mean? If you break the law, you pay the price. It doesn't matter if you only broke it a little bit. You know, you cannot say, I only broke the law a little bit, let me off. You break the law, you pay the price. You know, what more can I say about that? I think it's ridiculous that the Black Association of Police are calling it racism. I think it's appalling that her defence is trying to get her off by saying, well, she only broke the law a tiny bit. Do you know what I mean? Let her off because she's black, because she's a woman, and because she wears a uniform. No. She has lodged an appeal. So former Superintendent Williams has lodged an appeal against the conviction, but judges have not yet decided whether to grant approval for that appeal to be heard yet. That's something that will follow up if that does come up in the future. Stephen, very, very helpful subscriber, sent me a link to the following, which is, again, this isn't about police, this is about the judicial justice system, judges. Magistrates have told a speeding driver who managed to gather 60 points, 60 points on her driving licence in just 2 months. 60 points in 2 months, and she's been told she can keep her licence, but she must slow down. Can you believe this? This is a 30-year-old Georgia Carney from Widnes in Cheshire, just up the road from here. She was caught speeding 20 times in 2 months, 60 days. She's a self-employed beauty and nail technician, whatever the fuck that means. And she said to the court that her business would be affected if she was banned from driving, because she wouldn't be able to fulfill her working obligations without a car. Now, I'm pretty sure that most people that get done for speeding, yes, 60 points, Molly. Most people that get done for speeding or road traffic offences go to court. If you say, but I need it to get to and from work. Everybody needs a car generally to get to and from work. Obviously, there are people that don't work, but most people need a car to get to and from work. If a judge said to everybody, okay, mitigating factor, you need your car, I shan't ban you because you need to get to and from work, then the whole point of speeding regulations would be pointless. See what I did there? So they are saying for 60 points in 2 months, and she's allowed to keep her licence, okay, for speeding. I remember when I was younger and I drove with no insurance, okay, shouldn't say it, but do you know what, I'm always truthful with you. I totted up 12 points. I never drove like an idiot. I always drove within the boundaries of my experience and within the speed limit. Never speeded at all, never drunk drive, anything like that. I got 12 points, I lost my licence. This idiot's speeding, which is, you know, actually speeding is far worse than driving without insurance. If you can drive without insurance and drive carefully. Whether you've got insurance or not and you're speeding is ridiculous. But yeah, I lost my licence for totting up. 12 points, gone. She's got 60 points for speeding, turning her vehicle into a weapon, deadly weapon, and she's been let off. The magistrates accepted her special reasons argument, said she was allowed to keep her licence despite 3 points for every of the 20 times she was stopped. However, the magistrate did give her a £2,000 fine and told her to pay 115 in court costs. I mean, clearly, punishment that is going to strike fear into all of the speeders, you know, all of the people that put us and our children at risk because they drive like fucking lunatics. You know, I thought punishment was there to deter people from doing things, but clearly I am very much mistaken. Even the magistrate said that it was a record for them. They've never known anybody to have that many points on their licence stand in front of them. And yet even that was not enough for the judge to say, I don't care if it's going to affect your work, give me your licence. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely ridiculous. And I would love to know how the judge quantifies that decision, but I suppose we're never going to know. Sticking with judges and how stupid they can be, a man from South Shields has avoided jail. Now this one's quite amusing, not because of what he's done, however, that is not amusing, but a man from South Shields has avoided after being caught with an indecent video of a child on one of his devices. So he was found with an indecent video of a child while he was serving a suspended sentence for possession of over 2,000 indecent photos. So the guy gets done, goes to court, gets sentenced, but gets suspended. And now he's caught breaching the rules of his suspended sentence, and yet they've given him another suspended sentence. You cannot make this shit up. 31-year-old Dylan Robson initially got 12 months, suspended for 2 years in November in 2018 after he collected over 2,600 movies and pictures of children as young as 6 months old over a 7-year period. Thank you, Ian. I just saw that in the corner of my eye. Very much appreciate that. So in 2008, he had a 12-month prison sentence handed to him, but it was suspended for 2 years for having over 2,600 movies and pictures of children as young as 6 months old. In 2019, he was caught with a video of an adult and a child. Sorry, I hate, this always gets to me, stories like this. He went to court on Thursday gone. He was in court, Newcastle Crown Court. His home was raided in July 22nd, 2019, where police recovered 3 devices. On a Kindle device, there was a movie which involved a young child and an adult. He was arrested. He made a statement acknowledging what he had done, and he pled guilty or pleaded guilty in court. But despite that, despite the fact that he is already on a sexual harm prevention order and he's sitting on top of a suspended sentence, the court said, or rather his defense said, it represents what might be said to be a blip. A fucking blip. Paedophiles do not have blips. Paedophiles do not go, okay, I'm going to give up on that, and then have a relapse. They don't do that because they don't actually ever give up on what they were doing. They say that to get the police off of their back and get themselves a bit of space again. So to call it a blip is absolutely disgusting, and I'm horrified that a defence solicitor is calling a paedophile going back to its ways as a blip. He went on to say that it's educational. He needs to learn to stop doing it. So Dylan Robson from South Shields simply needs to learn to stop looking at child porn. What the fuck? I mean, come on. How can you say you need to learn? Do you know what I mean? Again, I go back to the fact of, if you break the law, you pay the price. You know that what you're doing is wrong. You know that looking at things like that is wrong. But yet you call it a blip, a hiccup. No, you can't. It's not about learning from it. It's about being punished for it, and being punished in a way that is going to make you say, well, fuck that, I'm not doing that again. The judge, Amanda Rippon, said to Dylan, you should understand that when I suspend a sentence, you get one chance as a general rule. You messed up, seriously messed up, you know? But, you know, it's okay because it was just a blip, you know? She said you seriously messed up, but they called it a blip for somebody looking at things they shouldn't be looking at to do with children, which is the most horrific thing I can think of, next to murdering somebody, right? So, no, sickening. This is the stuff that you don't get to see on my edited video, because I sit here and I say stuff and then I talk to myself and call these people names, and I have to cut that out of my videos. So this is the stuff that you don't normally get to see on an edited video. Judge, what was her name? Judge Amanda Rippon said, it may be a blip, and I'm not happy with that description, but you cannot afford another one. If you do, you're going to prison. Why wait? Why wait? He's already basically stuck his fingers up to the court and said, you know, I don't care about my and everything else, and he's gone and done that. Why should he have another chance? You know, okay, it may only be that he's looking at pictures, but that then leads on to more serious things. I'm sorry about the dog having a bad dream over there. But you know, you let people off once. Oh, thank you, Ian. Thank you, Leanna. Much appreciated. I missed that going up, I think. So my apologies. But you can't say to somebody, it's okay, it was a blip, we'll let you off this time. If they're sticking their fingers up to the court, if they're basically saying your punishment means nothing to me. So, you know, it's really not going to teach people a lesson. It's not going to make people think twice about doing it. So, moving on. Greater Manchester Police now have apologised to a victim of crime after telling him that he should go and buy his property back off of the people who stole it from him. Let that sink in. Greater Manchester Police have apologised to a victim of crime after telling him that he should go and buy his stolen property back off of the people that stole it from him. I mean, really? What? this guy, Duncan Smith, his name is a dad of 3 kids. He had 2 bikes stolen from his shed back in February, worth around £2,000. As you'd expect, the police closed the case very quickly due to lack of leads, or rather lack of enthusiasm. You know, if they're not going to be able to pull their taser out and threaten people, why would they want to bother with the crime? Now, this guy Duncan didn't give up. He spent time searching on Gumtree and eBay to see if the bikes were listed, okay? And he found his son's bike being listed on eBay. He says he knew it was his son's bike because there were specific marks where his son had come off of his bike once, and there were marks left on the bike in specific places due to that accident that he had. So he knew it was his bike. He called the police, gave them the information. He basically said, right, I found the bike, I reported a bike, you closed the case, but I found the bike. And the police turned around and basically said, I'm sorry, we don't have the manpower to help you recover, so we're not going to take any further action, even though he could prove that it was his bike. The police said, we haven't got the manpower, so we're not going to follow this up. Anyway, the officer, I'm not calling him an officer, this is quoted. The officer even asked why not purchase the bike and pay the thief/handler of stolen goods to get your bike back. The police told a victim of crime, why do you not just pay the person who stole your bike or who's handling your bike to give your bike back? Unfucking believable. Honestly, it's unbelievable. Now, this guy Duncan says he even told the police that he planned to bid on the bike on eBay in hope so he could win it, so he could then go and confront the person who was selling it. And he told the police that's what he was going to do. And he asked if, when he goes to get the bike, if the police can attend with him, which I think is a fair comment. I mean, if you, I don't know how many of you have had a falling out with a partner and the police have been involved and you've had to go back, and the police say, well, if you need to go back to the property, give us a ring and we'll come with you to make sure that nothing happens. I'm sure some of you have been in that situation before. Well, for this, where the guy says, I'm going to win this bike and I'm going to go and confront the person who stole it, then, but the police have turned around and basically said, and I'll read this as a quote, he said it was unlikely an officer would be available. It was unlikely an officer would be available to go to a property where clearly there's going to be some kind of altercation. So the police, carpet, broom, sweep it under. Not interested. And that's exactly, and again quoting, this is exactly what I try to avoid, but Greater Manchester Police have given me no choice but to do exactly that. Greater Manchester Police have admitted that an officer explained an address could be passed on to police if Duncan Smith bid for and won the bike on eBay, so police could attempt to recover it. But I mean, that's all very well, but the police have already said that they're not going to send anybody to the house to, initially. They're not going to go with the guy when he goes to pick the bike up. So if they can't be there for those two situations, then why are they saying, give us the details and we'll go and check it out? They're not going to do that. They're talking shit. However, they did insist that at no stage did the police suggest he should attend the address in person, which they're going to say. But the guy said he was going anyway, so the police should have said, well, okay, this is somebody who's been stolen from, going to meet somebody who's stolen from them, there is going to be an issue. We need somebody to go and be there. But no, not interested. Daisy, do you mind just snoring, please? In the middle of a live stream, if you don't mind. So, but yet they're all happy to come along when somebody's having a, you know, a TV licensing warrant served on them for them to come and check the television, or debt collectors or bailiffs. They're all very happy to go along then in order to prevent a breach of the peace or a fight breaking out or something like that. But when you've got the victim of a crime going to confront somebody who committed the crime, not fucking bothered. The police said, "We apologise for any frustration caused and say the advice given with the best of intentions is not advice that should be given by police." Then why was it given? When reports are made to police, we make assessments on how to best respond based on threat, harm and risk posed to the public. I always thought it was to do with harm, loss and damage rather than threat, harm, threat and risk. So I don't know where that's come from, but there you go. Greater Manchester Police went on to say if the victim did bid for the bike and obtain the contact details for the seller, then the address could have been passed on to the police so they could attempt to recover the suspected item. But again, I go back to the fact that if they are saying that they're not going to turn up initially to go and have a look at the bike, I think there was enough information. The guy could prove that it was his bike because of the specific marking from an accident. That should have been enough for the police to say, okay, under PACE, they've got a reasonable suspicion to remove that bike and find out if it is actually the bike. But no, not interested at all. Absolutely ridiculous. And then they go on with the normal dribble that you get from the police. We understand the impact and blah, blah, blah. You know, we work hard, eating donuts, you know, picking on people. It's, you know, they're going, you know, just the usual dribble that they normally put out after a statement that makes them look foolish. They put out a little statement just to say, well, you know, don't forget though that, you know, we work a very dangerous job, and, you know, you must respect us for that. So get on your fucking knees and bow down to me because I wear a thin blue line. And if you don't respect my authority, then I'm going to bully you and pick on you until you do. You know what I mean? But there we go. So that is it for today with regards to the PAP reports. So we've got Superintendent Williams given a boot because she failed to report a child abuse video that was sent to her. Good riddance. Not because you're black, not because you're a woman, don't know what sexuality you are, but whatever, makes no difference. Fact is, you broke the law, you broke your own standards as police, so got no sympathy for you. Tough shit. We've also got, who else did we mention? Where are we? PC James Taylor, who acted inappropriately towards junior police colleagues. He'll be in his disciplinary hearing tomorrow. PC James Taylor, James Taylor, if you're watching, I'd love you to be watching. I hope you get a sack. Right. Who else have we got? Georgia Carney from Witness in Cheshire. You are one lucky biatch. You are one lucky biatch. Although I have to say, from your pictures, and I'll put links to all of these stories in the description after this live stream, folks. I have to say, from your pictures in the rag, I'd have given you points and taken your license away just because of that stupid duck pout thing that you do in your pictures, because you look ridiculous. What else have we got? The last ones we've got, so we've got Dylan Robson with Judge Amanda Rippon. I hope you're watching this, Judge Amanda Rippon, because you are disgusting. You are an utter waste of space. Giving a convicted pedo who's on a sexual harm prevention order, giving him another chance after you've already given him a chance is ridiculous. You are sick. You do not deserve to be sitting in the position that you sit. And last but not least, Great Manchester Police. You love making yourself look stupid. You really do. And to tell somebody that, you know, or to ask somebody to go and buy their property back from the people that stole from them in the first place is fucking mental. You are a bunch of imbeciles. Madness. Yeah, Marty, I did say your name. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you what I said though. Should have been on the live to have heard what I was saying about you. That's it for PAP reports, or in that respect. However, and apologies for not responding to any of you, or hardly any of the questions that have been put in the comments. If I'd have done that, it would have dragged out that whole report part for ages, and I wanted to get that done and out of the way. Again, if you know, this report would have been about 15 minutes long, had I been able to do it during the day and then edit it down. But there we go. So what else should we talk about for the last few minutes? How about coronavirus? Should we talk about the coronavirus? Because I popped a post up on Facebook earlier. I just need to move something from there. Now, I put a post on Facebook about coronavirus earlier, while old Bojo was doing his speech at number 10. And I wrote a few points out as we was going through that, but there are some things. An uncut PAP report channel. Actually, do you know what? I could do, couldn't I? I could just have a channel where I just do not restrict myself at all and just go mental. But do you know what? I'll do that. I will do that once I get a website up and running and I can store my own videos on there. I'll do that. I'll have a I'll have the cut, the edit, and then I'll have the director's cut, which will be available for people to watch as well. But yeah, the thing about, and you know, I'm not talking about going on for the next half an hour talking about coronavirus. I just want to make a few points really and see what other people think. Now, True Reporter brought something up earlier. We was talking on WhatsApp, and he brought something up earlier about if people have to be self-isolated, what exactly is going to happen to homeless people? There are a lot. I mean, I don't care if I catch something. I catch something. Do you know what I mean? And most of us are luckily in a position to be able to get some care or some kind of care. Okay. There are people out there who are going to die as a result of actions taken as a result of this coronavirus rather than the virus itself. And that's what worries me. I'm personally, and again, I don't want to see anybody die, but dying is a fact of life, okay? If you have a low immune system and you catch something and you die, obviously that's very saddening. My point is, there are I'm just trying to think of a way to put it. If you're going to die, you're going to die. Okay, this is just my opinion. I'm not trying to be horrible to people who have lost loved ones. I've lost loved ones. Okay, so I'm not trying to be horrible in that respect. But if your time is up, your time is up. If that's because of a virus or whatever it might be, getting hit by a truck or whatever the case may be, then that is, that's going to happen. But for people who are going to, if people are going to die as a result of what the government are doing, then that's not on, as far as I'm concerned. The homeless people are going to suffer. Elderly people, of course, are going to suffer. I envisage people dying because they're not having people visit them to make sure they're okay. They're going to run out of food and not be able to get out and get food. There is a lot of things wrong with this situation. Boris Johnson throughout, and I mean from start to finish, he kept calling it a disease. Whereas the head of public health called it a virus that could could be the catalyst for a disease. Okay, so in other words, if you have underlying medical problems and you get the virus, then it could cause other issues. But this is supposed to be a virus, not a disease. And for Bojo to continually say it's a disease, it's a disease, it's a disease, it's a disease, makes me wonder. We also had what's his face? Trump. That's the one. We also had Trump. Now, Trump turned around in a thing earlier and said, it's nobody's fault. It's nobody's fault unless you go back to the original source. And that was quite interesting for me to hear. It's nobody's fault unless you go back to the original. It is a strain of virus that has simply mutated, which is why it's something that we are unable to treat at the moment. If it's just a virus that's mutated, then nobody's to blame for that. So why would you say it's nobody's fault unless you go back to the original source? Very, very weird thing to say. I did say that about the fines. I'd like, and the worst thing about that is it's a government fine. It's not like it's a fine for not, it's not like it's a penalty for not paying a bill. Do you know what I mean? Which you can, it's a civil matter. This is being classed as a criminal matter. If you are fined and you fail to pay that fine, that's a criminal fine that you're not paying. Therefore, you're going to go to jail for it. Do you know what I mean? And that's bad news. That's bad news. Where are we? the UK's chief medical advisor says that the death rate is currently less than 1%. Less than 1% death rate. Yeah, of course, it might be spreading quickly. It might be spreading fast and furious, but a death rate of less than 1% is pretty bloody good, considering the death rate for some things, like going to custody. The death rate for some things is so much higher, and I get we need to protect people that are potentially at risk, more at risk. I mean, when they said about the schools being locked down, you know, schools being shut for 2 weeks or whatever, do you know what? I'd rather have the schools open and have home shut. Yeah, send all the kids off to school, turn the school into a boarding school for 2 weeks, let them get over it, right? The kids are the ones that are going to get over it more than anybody else. Yeah, scam. Yeah, there's going to be scammers going mental. Yeah, of course there are. Unsub, you say it's silly to compare it to the flu, but this is what they're saying it is. It's a strain of flu. Yeah, it's one that is gonna, or is one that hasn't got necessarily a vaccine for yet, apparently. But personally, I still don't see it doing as much damage as people are making out. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of unfit and unhealthy people in this world who might get the virus and might struggle with it. Some are going to die, unfortunately. There's nothing we can do about that. And that's a shame, because I wouldn't want any of my family to die from it. And you are all the same. So it would be horrible if, that people have to die. But it's look, people are dying and did die just from the normal flu. Do you know what I mean? Without it being this particular strain of flu, people were dying, and some people still do die from, from regular flu. Personally, I just think there are some underlying things going on here that we're not privy to. I'm sure of it. I am absolutely sure of it. Right, Joe Black there. Something that I brought up the other day. It's not even just if they close schools. If they they're closing these businesses down, right? Or they're saying, Bojo said that they have legislation to force people to shut their businesses down. In fact, there's a 1984 legislation. I don't know which one it is because I've not had time to look it up. But there was a 1984 1984 legislation that gives the I'm not sure what you're talking about, Marty. I'll talk to you shortly. Now you've thrown me off what I was saying. Yeah, there's a 1984 legislation that gives the public health the head of public health of the country, the power to ban handshaking. Handshaking. They can ban the shaking of hands and other physical contact through an act of legislation that they already have. That is something. Remember, there's tens of thousands of legislations, most of which we know nothing about. No worries, Leanna. Thanks for jumping on. Enjoy your shift. Someone told, yeah, I'm going to wrap this up shortly, Marty, don't worry. Somebody told me that China, I don't know because I've not looked, I haven't had a chance to look, but somebody told me that China now has no cases of coronavirus, apparently. No, I don't know whether that's true or not. As I say, I've not looked into it, but I've been told that China no longer has any cases of coronavirus, and that's where it's supposed to have started from. You'd have thought that that would be, the ground zero, so to speak. You'd think that more people would have it there than anywhere else, but I don't know. I'll have to look into that. But it just seems very strange to me. There's a lot of strange things about this. There are strange things about this that don't necessarily add up for me. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I think you know that by now. I don't go down the conspiracy theory route. I still don't know what's going on here. Right, Marty, I'm going to wrap. Couple minutes. I'm wrapping this up, and what's right? I don't know what's going on between you, Marty, and Ian. I've not been looking. Right. Well, yeah. I mean, as I say, I just think there's things that don't quite add up here. I'm not saying that it's all a lie. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. But, as, for example, Bojo calling it a disease all the way through his press conference, which is not supposed, it's supposed to be a virus, not a disease. It's two different things, are they not? Unless I'm mistaken. Trump saying nobody's to blame unless you go back to the original source. That seems like a very weird thing to say to me. Nobody really talking about what's happening with homeless people. I've heard one mention of homeless people since this started. Just one person mentioned homeless people, and that was on Sky News while this was breaking, and it was just once. And that's one of my concerns, as I say, is the vulnerable people of society, not the healthy, strong people that will get through it. But the vulnerable people, it's, you know, could it be a way to cull the dead wood, so to speak, in a world where we are pushing the limits of everything? You know, we're pushing the limits of population and everything else. Could it be a way to cull off the drains on society? I'm a drain on society at the moment. Do you know what I mean? I'm not afraid to admit that. I am a drain on society at the moment. I have to have an element of disability, unfortunately. I'd rather not, but I do at the moment. Am I going to disappear? Am I going to disappear soon? Are you going to tune in tomorrow and just find Big Ted sitting in my chair? Who knows? But yeah, I as I say, I think there's some weird stuff going on. Again, we only know what we're told, unfortunately. We have to kind of fill in the blanks ourselves, and unfortunately sometimes that requires, or not requires, but sometimes that converts into sort of conspiracy theories and things like that, which is not something that I sort of commit to. But there we go. Anyway, guys, I didn't want, and I don't want this live to turn into a 3-hour one like we normally do. It was a PAP Reports. I'm going to download this video and re-upload the main part of it, so the PAP Reports part. I'll do that later on this evening, so at least there is a short version of this PAP Reports. But you've had 2 strokes. Well, that's no good, man. I don't know anybody that's had a stroke, but I know it's not good. I thought I was having a stroke once, and I shat myself, literally. It's horrible. Yes, Marty, yeah, no problem, mate. We'll have a chat shortly. Yeah, I've got your number unsub. Do me a favour though, because through the WhatsApp chat, I don't save anybody's names. Otherwise, I would run out of space in my phone saving everybody. So what I tend to do is I tend to scroll back through the conversation I've had to see who it was I'm talking to. But if you message me now and just put unsub, so that I know it's you. I do have some phone calls that I need to make this evening anyway. But yeah, we'll have a chat, mate. We'll definitely have a chat. Oh right, okay, sound. I'll look it up. Unsub, I'll look that up, mate. But yeah, so that's it for now. That's it from me. Yeah, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Carry on letting me know your thoughts, as I know you will do. When this live chat stops, you'll have the comments available, so please let me know your thoughts on anything that we've spoken about. Look after yourselves, take care of each other, or take care of yourself, look after each other, whatever way around it is. Stay safe, film the police and every other public official, because you will get screwed over if you don't. Good night, folks. Thank you.